Hello everyone, welcome to Tianjin University Ambassador Talks. My name is timothyjhutagaol. I'm an admission promotion ambassador of Tianjin University, and today we are going to discuss about the study of architecture. Previously, we have talked with master student and architect, and now we are going to be accompanied by our current student from Tianjin University. Please welcome Lori. Hello, Lori.
Hello.
Yes,
Hi, nice to meet you, and
nice
hello
to meet you
everyone.
too. And this is your first time in Tianjin University Ambassador Talk, so we should give
Yeah.
introduction about yourself.
Yeah, okay. As you said, this is my first time and it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Lori and I'm from Albania. I'm an architecture student in Tianjin University, currently at the fourth grade of my degree. And I'm a Chinese government scholarship student.
I see. Yeah. Okay. You're from Albania. Isn't it
Yeah.
Eastern Europe, right?
Yeah, it's in Southeastern Europe.
Yeah. You're my first Albanian friend. So hey.
Yeah, it's a very small country. A lot of people don't know about it. So yeah,
Yeah, I've never known or like known about Albania before, but it's okay.
mm,
Okay. So I'm
yeah,
wondering.
here I am.
You're from Europe, so how do you know about Tianjin University at first?
Well, my story with Tianjin University is a little bit funny because I wasn't supposed to come to Tianjin University at first. I applied for the scholarship, and I when I was like looking through universities, I had a couple choices, but then I applied to this university in Beijing, Tsinghua, because I heard, and then uh, Tsinghua was like one of the best universities in China for architecture. And yes, and then I got admitted and I got the scholarship paper.
Yeah.
And then I was told I was going to come to Tianjin just to do my language year
Yeah.
because I was going to learn Chinese first. And then I came, the first time I came to China, I arrived in Tianjin and went to Tianjin University. I studied 1 year their language, and then I was like, I'm not going to leave this place. I don't want to leave. So I tried to apply again in Tianjin University to do my bachelor and get the transfer from Tsinghua. So thankfully they admitted me, and then I started my studies in Tianjin University, which everyone was like, why are you leaving Tsinghua? Tsinghua is so good. I was like, no, I like Tianjin University. I
Oh,
like to
okay.
stay in Tianjin. I don't want to go. So yeah, this is like the way I got introduced with Tianjin University.
Oh, that's a good story. I mean, you are attracted by, your what you experience in Tianjin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you landed in one of the best architecture. Well, I actually look at the website of architecture and they have a good
Mm-hmm.
program. And yeah, you have studied right now in your fourth year, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I think I would like to ask you more about like study experience. But before that, like what interests you to study the major of architecture?
Oh well, I think I was like 14 or 15 when I first
Yeah.
thought about what I want to do in the future, what I want to be in the future. And
Yes.
I'd always been very keen on visual arts.
Mm,
I used to paint a lot, I used to draw a lot, I used to be very interested in this kind of field. So when I started thinking, I liked architecture and I was considering studying architecture. I was very young, I think maybe 15, before starting high school.
yes.
And somehow I just made up my mind very early. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm becoming. I don't want to be anything else. And
Yeah.
thank God it didn't change with time because it could have confused me a lot. But yeah, I didn't change. And I was very sure I was going to do this. And I really liked it. And I started getting more information about it. And that's how I learned that's what I want to do. That's what I like. And so far, I'm very happy with my decision, and I haven't regretted it
Yeah.
yet. So I think I made the right choice.
I see. Yeah. So you're interested in arts at first, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you continue finding and exploring your interest in the arts, and finally you landed in architecture. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice for you. And right now that you are attracted to Tianjin University,
Mhm,
so when you first arrived there in Tianjin, what is your
mhm.
first impression of Tianjin University?
Well, when I arrived in Tianjin, I remember it was a very hot September day,
Mm,
and I had obviously traveled for many hours because Europe is very far from China, and I was very tired. And yeah,
yeah.
and then I got inside the campus, and there were students offering to help me with the bags, and they were like trying to show me around, but I couldn't speak any Chinese when I got there. So I met these two international students that spoke English. And they were like, okay, we're going to show you around. We're going to take you to the dormitory and you can register there. So they took me to Liyuan, which was the first
Ah,
dormitory I lived in.
yeah.
And I got registered there. And I was very fascinated about the fact that everyone was so willing to help, you know, as soon as they see you with bags and tired and everything, they're like, do you need help, do you want something? And it's very interesting. And yeah, I felt welcomed. I felt very welcomed in the beginning, even though I was like very young. And when
Yeah.
I first got there, I was missing my family and I was like very far from home, but everyone was like very kind and were trying to, you know, cheer me up and like make me feel better about it. So yeah,
I
it
see.
was a good, it was good.
Yeah, good treatment and good hospitality. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you first meet there. I think do you encounter like language barrier maybe with the Chinese language when you first arrive?
Okay, here I'm gonna have to be honest
Yeah.
because Chinese is not an easy language to learn
Yeah.
for foreigners. It's quite difficult and it needs a lot of dedication if you want to learn it like good. So the first year when I was doing language, it was it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard, but it's interesting because with the locals, when for example when I used to go, I don't know, to the market or to the
Yeah.
canteen, you just tell them ni hao, and then they're like very excited that you speak Chinese and you feel so good about it. They make you feel so confident, so
Yeah.
it's good. They don't expect a lot, so for starters it's good, but yeah, it needs a lot of dedication and it needs a lot of hard work to speak
Yeah.
good Chinese. So yeah, of course there are tough times when you have to maybe do something important for you and you don't have anyone around to help you with the language.
Mm,
There were
yeah.
hard times with that, but you start learning more and you start overcoming those difficulties. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good thing because well, I'm an English major, right? So, but I have requirements to complete Chinese. So yeah, it's a bit hard to be
Yes.
familiar with it, especially when you were like, let's say, reaching high level of Chinese like HSK 4 or above.
Yes.
Okay, how do you improve that? I
And once you think, oh, I know very well how to speak or write Chinese, then it turns out you don't know that much. You still have things to learn, you know. There's always something new to learn.
Yeah, of course. And in your bachelor study, do you study Chinese taught major, right, in architecture?
Yes, Chinese taught
Okay,
major.
so how do you think the professor explained? Can you understand him in
Mm.
Chinese?
It's a challenge. It's
Yeah.
very challenging. It's very challenging, and because you know you can speak good Chinese in everyday life and communicate with everyday basic things, but academic language, it's
Oh,
another level of difficulty, you know,
yes.
because there are terms and words, maybe if someone told them to me in my language and I didn't like, I was in school, maybe I didn't understand them, you know, because they're new terms and new language.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to say the professors were very understanding towards this because they know foreign students have difficulties with the language.
Mm,
So they were trying to help as much as they could. Some of them who spoke good English would like translate
yeah.
the information in English for us. So they really tried to help. In times when I didn't have other options, I would like translate some of the lectures and understand them better, or I could ask some of my classmates and they could help too. So there was times that I needed help with understanding, but thanks to the professors and the classmates, it was easier. It was easier.
Yeah, it's very great as professors actually understands you. And by the way, the professor actually treat international student like they know maybe we have language barrier, especially if you
Mm-hmm,
learned the language before. And
mm-hmm,
I'm curious about your experience in courses study. So, like in architecture, what kind of
mm-hmm.
courses you studied in this major?
Mm. So when we first started, especially in the first year, there was a lot of art-related classes, which I enjoyed a lot. It was very good, and it was really like entertaining because we would do art classes and we would draw and we would study maybe bigger artists and bigger architects and their work, and it was very interesting because it was the beginning and we were still learning like easier things. Then we started getting more into the architecture field and the major subjects. So we started doing the construction classes and the
Yeah.
uh, architecture and design classes, of course, and studio projects. So the program is actually very rich, as Tianjin University is one of the best schools in China for architecture major. So the program is very rich, and what's really good is that you can pick the languages you want to take. Like you can choose the classes you're more interested to, and you can make your own kind of timetable. So this was a good option for me to pick the classes I liked the most, and
Oh,
I had easier access to it. But overall, well, right now that I'm in the fourth year, everything's become very professional and quite difficult. But yeah, I think I used to like the art classes a lot, and for example, last year we did interior design, and that's also something I enjoy very much. Interior design classes were good. There was a class of psychology of architecture, and that was very interesting to how to interpret everything we see and the buildings we're in and see the psychology behind it. That was also very
yeah.
interesting. So these are some of the classes I really enjoyed taking. And there are other classes that like were more challenging and made me work a little bit harder and like make me feel more tired after it. But overall, the program is very interesting and very well balanced between the easier classes and the more professional and tough ones.
I see. Yeah. So you learn basically from the related to arts and then related to engineering and construction. And
Mm.
then
Mm-hmm.
this is the new thing that I heard, like psychology of architecture. So
Mm-hmm.
like, what is that? It's like the impression of design of what is.
Yeah, actually, I was very impressed with this class too. I had never heard about it before. And once we had this assignment we had to do that told us pick one song
Okay.
that is about a place, you know, a certain place,
Yeah.
and then interpret what it was about and how does that space is involved in the emotional
Mm.
and psychological state of the person who's singing the song. And I found that very interesting because it was basically the first time we incorporated music with the classes.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically we in psychology of architecture we have to interpret how someone feels when they enter a room or they enter a building,
Yeah.
how it should be because in different kind of buildings, for example, let's say in a school there's a
Yeah.
different psychology of building. There are different colors, different structures, and for example in a museum or something else it's completely
Yes.
different psychology and
I
different state
see.
of mind. So this is basically what psychology of architecture was about, and I think it was one very interesting course that for unfortunately we had only for one semester, but yeah.
So right now you're studying online from your home country. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
So
studying
yeah,
online.
yeah. Talking about your like what you explained about like psychology of architecture, it's actually very logical because when you enter a specific room, like interior, museum, school, you have to be feel that you're there, like the
Mm-hmm.
emotion that you get. Okay, you are here. Especially maybe for example, in the massage place, right, you have to feel relaxed. But
Exactly.
yeah, and the interior designer, for example, they have to able to design a certain way that people can feel comfortable. Okay, that's
As soon as you enter, yeah.
yeah, of course. And right now that you're studying online, I'm actually quite curious about, you have learned theory. Of course, you want to have practical experience. So what kind of practical experience you have? Maybe you have design, or you follow
Mhm.
workshop, or what do you experience?
So, as well, it's well known that online classes doesn't give you much
Yeah.
chance for practical
Yes.
assignments and practical work. So this has been a little bit of a minus, let's say, in the online classes process, because you don't really see the things, you don't really touch them. It's not as we were in the studio before in school, and we
Oh,
would see
yeah.
everything and we would do. Because one thing I miss from the offline classes, it's that in studio, when we did our projects, we used to do the models, the
Mm,
mini models of our building. So we would build that from scratch, every piece to piece, and cut it and stick it and measure it and everything. And that's a process I really liked. It would take me like 6 7 hours just working on the model, but I really
yeah.
enjoyed that. Now we don't do that anymore, because
Mm,
we only do electronic 3D version of our models. We don't do the actual model, and that I miss. And that's the practical work that we don't do right now, or we don't go to see sites like we used to go when we were in school. But the only practical work I've been doing, and that was actually requested from the school,
mm,
we had to do internships wherever we are. So it's I did an internship for 2 months here in my country, in my hometown, and that was the first time I was like hands on with an architect. I did it in an architectural studio with three other architects. So that was the first time I had an interaction with the clients that came over, and
yeah.
they requested I want to make a new house, and that's how I wanted to look, and all the process. So that's the first time I did a real practical work outside Tianjin campus. But
Mm, yeah.
other than that, it's mainly all electronic assignments and everything else right now.
Yeah, and I'm also curious because maybe prospective students, like, they think when they achieve the year where they have to do practical work. So maybe I want to ask you that, how do you feel the experience and difference that you feel when you have to
Mm-hmm.
work in a real design, real clients? How do you feel when you
Mm-hmm.
work with them?
Oh, that's a very there's a lot of feelings, there's a lot of feelings
Yeah.
about that, because the phase one is trying to understand the person and the client and what they really want, because we're doing this for them. I'm not doing that for myself. The second phase is because, if you're not an architect or civil engineering or any of that profession for that matter, uh, you don't really understand the legal courses of construction, or the guidelines that the building should follow.
Mm, yeah.
So people might come up with the craziest wants and ideas, and we cannot really build certain things because there are rules we have to follow. So
Mm, yeah.
that is the phase when you have to communicate with the client and like tell them what can be done and what cannot be done.
Yeah.
uh, and yeah, sure. And then the last phase is the completion and the finalization of the project, of course, that pleases both parties, the client and me as an architect. So it's a roller coaster of emotions and feelings, but it's work. That's
Yeah.
how it's supposed to be.
I see. Yeah, because it's different when you're working with your friends, like with colleagues, and then with real
Mm-hmm.
clients with so many demands, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have to, like, be patient and explain everything what you are able to do. And yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
good thing when you, let's say, you're about in fourth year, so in 2 years, I think in 1 year you will be graduating, and you will face that in a real workplace. Yeah, so
Yes.
maybe, I know that architecture have many fields, many sectors.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what specific field that you may have an idea to focus on?
As I mentioned before, I really like to expand my knowledge in interior design, because
Yeah.
as we study general architecture in school, interior design is not as big of as big part of the curricular classes. There we studied interior design, but not as much as I would love to maybe later. So I think that's something I will get into it maybe after graduation. So I would like to focus on that a little, and maybe work on interior design for a while. Even though I love the exteriors and the studying of the building as a whole thing, but as I mentioned before, and you said very well, the psychology
Yeah.
of architecture is very connected with the interior design. That's something I would like to maybe dig deeper and see myself
Yeah.
how I would fit in that world.
Yeah, of course. And you mentioned that you learn, like electronically. Do you learn
Mhm.
software?
Yes.
For learning. Yeah. So what kind of software you learn?
Well, the basics are, of course, AutoCAD for floor plans and structures and sections and everything. So that's the main one. Without AutoCAD, we can't do anything. And then we start. Thankfully, the school gives us the possibility to choose and work with whatever software we're more comfortable with, and they don't have a rule that you have to work with certain softwares. So that's good, because some of them are more difficult to learn for some people and some are easier. So personally, I do the 3Ds and the renderings with SketchUp and V-Ray that I had to learn by myself, and then the polishing of the project and the final presentation is also processed in Photoshop. So basically, these are the three softwares I use the most. Then there are other ones that we used along the years, but mainly for the main projects and the studio classes was AutoCAD, SketchUp, V-Ray, and Photoshop.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, because AutoCAD also applied in engineering, but I haven't
Mm-hmm.
used that before. Currently, I only focus on programming. And by the way,
Mm-hmm.
if you mentioned that using software, it is actually
Yeah.
very important because right now we are mainly focused on digital rather than drawing by
Yes.
hand. And in the previous episode, I talked with real like she has worked as an architect. Like
Mm-hmm.
she did say that a software, whatever software do it as like as serious as you can, as professional as you can. That will help you a lot. So I think you're on the right track on
Yeah,
starting
I hope
learning with
so.
software. Yeah, so that's great. And I want to ask maybe that as you're right now in your home country, maybe when you're still in Tianjin University, what do you think the special moments you gain from studying in Tianjin University?
Oh, I have so many good memories from studying in Tianjin University. I was there for about 3 years, I think, until the pandemic started.
Yeah,
But I have so many memories. I think the first year when I arrived and I was doing language in China, I think that's the year that made up all the experiences, because it was a new thing. I had just exchanged from my country to a huge country like China and completely different. And I met so many people from all around the world, so many students places that I had never heard of, and cultures that I never have experienced before. And that was beautiful to learn about different cultures and people from all over the world. And I I think it was 2018 when I went to see the cultural day show that
yeah,
the Tianjin University does. So we were at the main gym where the show was being, and everyone had from the foreign students. Everyone have made a performance,
yeah.
and most of them were showing performances from their own countries, traditional performances of their culture. So I was in the audience, and
Yeah.
I was watching the whole show, and all the performances brought so many parts of different cultures.
Yeah.
And there was this moment of realization that I didn't think I would experience, but I was just looking at these people and these performances, and I was like, if I hadn't come here to China and if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, I would have never been able to see this. I would have never known how people dress in certain places or how people dance in certain places. And it made me feel so full of pride and actually fulfillment. I was
Yeah.
very fulfilled from all that, and it was very moving. So this is the part that I appreciated the most about studying abroad and studying in China and in Tianjin University. And then also like learning about Chinese culture and meeting so many interesting students. I have never seen students that work harder than students in China. They have this
Yes.
crazy discipline, this amazing dedication to studying, and I would always be so fascinated. And I wanna study that hard. I want to be that good. So there was so much to learn from my experience in Tianjin University, and so many good memories.
Yeah, of course. You came to China and you face this completely new world, like facing the language, facing the culture,
Yes,
and then of course, cultural day is the most interesting one. You get to know
yes.
many people, many international students. You meeting with the locals. Yeah, that's
Mm,
very special moments for you. And
yeah.
I am curious that since you are about to graduate a year later, so do you
Mm-hmm.
have plans? Maybe do you want to continue masters or
Mm-hmm.
directly become professionals?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be honest. 5 years of studying architecture is not an easy, an easy ride, because it's 5 years and it's a long time, and it requires a lot of dedication and a lot of hard work. And I think after I graduate, if I graduate as is planned, I think I'm gonna need a little bit of rest
Yeah.
before I get into the real world of architecture and everything to work. So I think I'm gonna take a little bit rest, and then hopefully I would love to do a master's, as I said even before, on interior design or something related to that. But
Yes.
that's also not. I haven't decided about it yet, and I don't know, because I would love to say I want to come to China and do a master's or
Yeah.
finish my degree. But with the situation right now, nothing is a given, and we don't know what's going to happen next. So I'm trying not to plan much, even though that's really hard for me to not plan in advance. But I'm trying not to make a lot of plans and maybe let things flow on their own rhythm. But yeah, hopefully my main goal right now and the only thing I'm looking forward is to graduate on time and
Yeah.
graduate with the scores that I would like to graduate. So that's my main goal, my short-term goal for right now.
Yeah, that's a good plan. I mean, some people may need to slow down. I mean, yeah, you face many experience you have, and yeah, I hope that you can graduate on time. And more years of this will be getting more challenging.
Of
Whatever
course.
you will face. I think professors will always guide and help you in these difficult conditions. So yeah,
Yes,
I think
without
you have
any doubt.
given us more insights on like bachelor studies. Many prospective students may have many thoughts, but I hope what you have explained to us, it's
Mhm.
a big insight and a big reveal, like, okay, this is the real thing when you study
Yes,
architecture.
and
Yeah.
honestly, what I have to say to people who want to study architecture and who consider studying in Tianjin University is that this is not an easy journey, but it's definitely worth it, and it's a beautiful journey, and there's nothing as fulfilling and prideful than completing a journey you really want to complete in the way that, for example, we are doing it in Tianjin University, because you'll be with very supportive group of classmates, very supportive group of professors, a very rich program, and everything will make it easier for you. Because, as I said, it's not easy journey, but it will be worth it, all worth it.
Yeah, of course, it's very great. And maybe before we close our talks, would you give some encouragement and motivation to prospective students when they want to pursue this major
Mm.
of architecture?
Yeah, as I said, they're gonna have to be prepared, because good things don't come easily. But as soon as you work hard and as soon as you dedicate yourself to something you really love, there will always be an award at the end. You will get the fulfillment you need. So sure, I encourage everyone that has interest towards architecture to take that step and apply for architecture, because they're gonna love it. And in Tianjin University, as I said, personally, I have had the best experience, and I've enjoyed the years I studied very much. So as hard as it is, there are many moments full of joy and um, knowledge. You feel, because knowledge is power, and you feel empowered every time you leave an auditorium. So that's the main goal of a university. So definitely they should go for it and do their best, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, Lori, for your insights and your experience you share with us today. I mean, yeah, it's architecture in Tianjin University is very rich program, and it has been internationally accredited by the International Union of Architects. So essentially, when you study architecture in Tianjin University, they will provide you from the fundamental and will provide you the good path when you want to graduate with the good amount of courses and rich experience when you want to reach professionals and further studies. And thank you everyone for watching this episode. Thank you so much, Lori. I hope you can reach
Thank
your
you.
successful endeavor and your hard work, especially in this difficult journey in architecture, will be paid off with what you want to achieve in the future will be successful.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun and a pleasure, and I hope everyone will enjoy this. Thanks a lot.
I
Good
hope
luck to you too.
yeah, I hope we can meet offline as well to experience again directly
Of
in the
course.
university.
Of course, I hope so.
Yeah, thank you so much everyone for your attention today, and this video will give you the information about the major of architecture, and you can see in the description below the description of architecture major in Tianjin University, and there are full scholarships available for bachelor, master, and doctoral studies in architecture major. And if you like this video, you can like, subscribe, and comment, and you can share to everyone that wants to study the major of architecture. And thank you everyone, thank you for your attention, have a good day. Bye bye, everyone.